Once, I sought refuge in the forest, hoping to find clarity amidst the silence and the towering trees. Walking aimlessly, I encountered the Buddha sitting beneath a large banyan tree, his expression serene and inviting. With trembling hands, I approached him and knelt, unable to voice my troubled thoughts. The Buddha gazed at me, his eyes calm, as though seeing the depth of my turmoil without requiring explanation. "You seem burdened," he said softly, his words carrying both compassion and curiosity, resonating deeply within me. "Why do you carry such weight, young one? Speak freely." I took a deep breath, struggling to form the chaotic thoughts into cohesive words. To express my confusion, "Master, my life feels as though it is falling apart," I said, my voice almost breaking. "My work has ended. My skills feel useless. I do not know the path forward." The Buddha nodded slightly, listening without interruption, as though each word was of immense value and required complete attention. He sat motionless, his hands resting lightly on his knees, inviting the openness I had not known I needed. After a pause, he spoke again, his voice like the gentle rustle of leaves. "The tree you see behind me," he began, gesturing, "was once a small seed buried beneath the earth. Did the seed despair, knowing it was hidden in darkness, with no knowledge of its potential growth?" He paused, allowing the question to linger, inviting reflection rather than providing an immediate answer. I stared at the tree, its sprawling roots and sturdy trunk, understanding how far it had come from its humble beginning. "No, Master," I answered, feeling a tinge of clarity. "They spread outward but eventually settle, restoring the stillness of the pond." His words resonated deeply within me as I watched the water gradually return to its tranquil state. "Indeed," he said, "darkness is not the enemy of growth but the cradle of transformation. Even the stars are born in darkness." My turmoil lessened slightly as I considered his words, though I remained uncertain of my next steps in life. "Master," I asked, "how do I find my next path, especially when the future appears unclear? Like shadows on water?" The Buddha lifted a leaf from the ground, turning it gently in his fingers, and held it where I could see. "Do you see this leaf?" he asked, his tone gentle but probing. "It lived briefly, carried nourishment, and then let go. Its purpose shifted effortlessly." I nodded, watching the leaf, understanding its simplicity yet still yearning for deeper guidance in my specific struggles. He continued, his voice like rippling water over stone. "Our roles are transient, yet our capacity for kindness, wisdom, and perseverance remains eternal. Do not mistake roles for essence." I felt tears forming in my eyes, overwhelmed by the wisdom and comfort of his teachings, though still grappling with their depth. "But, Master," I said, my voice trembling, "how do I accept when roles or paths change beyond my control, leaving me lost?" The Buddha pointed at a stream nearby, the water moving steadily over rocks, adapting naturally to its environment. "Does the stream fight its course, fearing the bends ahead, or does it simply flow, trusting its direction?" he asked. I observed the stream, realizing its quiet resilience and its ability to navigate obstacles without resistance, finding its way always. "It flows, Master," I answered, the answer blooming within me, spreading calm amidst my fears. "It trusts its journey, even when unseen, just as this stream does not stagnate," he said. "You must trust your life to adapt and flow forward." He paused again, his words settling into the silence that wrapped around us, both comforting and spacious. "And how do I know when I am flowing or resisting, Master?" I asked, seeking his further guidance and insight into my emotional turbulence. "What if I mistake resistance for patience or trust for apathy?" The Buddha smiled gently, his understanding vast, and gestured towards a bird perched on a branch nearby. The bird sings, not because it fears the silence, but because it lives fully in this moment, he said. To flow is to live authentically, unburdened by fear of what was or what may never come, he added. His words painted vivid images in my mind, allowing my thoughts to expand, even though some remained tangled. As the bird flew away, the Buddha's gaze followed it briefly before returning to mine, his eyes conveying infinite wisdom. Begin with presence, he said. Return to your breath. Find calm within, where clarity is born amidst the noise. I took a deep breath, following his instruction, feeling a small but significant shift within, a stillness emerging. The forest seemed quieter, the sound of my breath steadying my thoughts like an anchor holding against the tide. The Buddha spoke again, his voice firm but never harsh, carrying weight with each deliberate phrase. Growth requires both effort and surrender. Effort cultivates the soil. Surrender trusts the seed to grow in its time. Master, I said. More composed now. I still feel doubt within me. Does doubt obstruct growth, or is it part of the process? I felt vulnerable asking. Yet his presence encouraged openness without fear. He tilted his head slightly, considering my question, his gaze compassionate but penetrating as he answered. Doubt is neither friend nor foe. It is a teacher, urging us to question but not to abandon our journey. The Buddha's words resonated deeply, offering a perspective I had not considered, one of grace in navigating uncertainty. Your path may be unclear, he said, but each step taken with intention reveals the ground beneath your feet. I bowed my head, not out of submission but out of profound gratitude and understanding, ready to carry his words. The Buddha rose gracefully, motioning for me to follow him a short distance to the edge of the forest. We stood silently for a moment, the horizon stretching wide, as though symbolizing endless possibilities and impermanence together. Remember this, he said finally, turning towards me once more. To resist change is to cling to an illusion. To embrace it is to live truthfully. I let his words sink deeply into my heart, feeling a sense of both humility and empowerment as I stood there. As the Buddha walked away, his figure blending into the forest, I remained still, absorbing the silence. The forest became my teacher then, the rustling leaves and flowing water embodying his wisdom in their natural rhythms. I left the forest not with answers but with clarity, carrying seeds of hope and courage planted by the Buddha. Another day, another wanderer approached me, her eyes clouded with worry, her hands calloused from years of weaving fabrics. She introduced herself as a weaver, explaining how her craft had sustained generations but now felt like a burden. She spoke of how the world around her demanded new designs, patterns unfamiliar and alien to her traditions. Her voice trembled as she described her fear of losing her family's legacy in the pursuit of change. I listened, the Buddha seated calmly nearby, his presence grounding us both in the stillness of the moment. He looked at her kindly, his voice soft but deliberate as he spoke. The loom you use holds threads of many colors, yet all are bound by the same frame. Why do you hesitate to weave anew, when the frame itself remains steadfast? The weaver looked down at her hands, her fingers tracing imaginary threads as though seeking answers in their movements. I fear that by changing the patterns, I will dishonor my ancestors who wove before me, she confessed. Her words hung in the air, heavy with the weight of centuries, as if her ancestors were listening alongside us. The Buddha gestured to a nearby tree, its roots deep in the soil, its branches reaching towards the sky. Consider this tree, he said. Its roots honor the earth from which it came, while its branches grow towards the unknown sky. Yet the world moves as it will, indifferent to our urgency. As we walked, the morning unfolded into midday, the sun casting its warm light over the landscape. The tree grows because it must, and in doing so, it honors its roots. The Buddha smiled gently, his gaze returning to her as he spoke again. His words like a soft breeze. To weave is to create, and to create is to live. Your ancestors wove not to preserve, but to sustain. The stream does not demand that the rocks move, Buddha said. It flows around them, adapting its course with grace. He picked up a small pebble, holding it between his fingers before releasing it into the water. But, Master, she asked, her voice still hesitant, what if I fail? What if my new patterns unravel and leave nothing but frayed threads? The Buddha reached down and picked up a fallen leaf, its edges beginning to wither, its color fading into the hues of the earth. Failure, he said, holding the leaf up for her to see, is like this leaf. It returns to the soil, nourishing the roots for new growth. He placed the leaf gently on the ground, his actions deliberate, as though emphasizing the lesson with each movement. Even the torn cloth teaches us, he continued. Each stitch, whether perfect or flawed, becomes part of the greater tapestry of life. He paused, turning to his followers. To walk with insight, you must release attachment, release resistance. Even a blocked road is part of the journey, and a stream finds stillness in the depths of a lake, he continued. When obstacles appear insurmountable, patience teaches us to rest and reflect, gathering strength for the path ahead. Seek instead the intention behind each thread, the purpose within each pattern. The weaver bowed deeply, her gratitude evident in the way her hands pressed together, her forehead touching the earth. She rose, her steps lighter as she left, her heart now a loom ready to weave new possibilities. As the Buddha turned to me, his gaze serene yet piercing, he spoke again, his words a lesson meant for both of us. His presence was a beacon of calm amidst the activity, a living testament to the teachings he imparted. As the day drew to a close, the lessons of the journey remained vivid in my mind, their truths resonating with every step I took. I nodded, my thoughts intertwining with his teachings, realizing how often I clung to familiar patterns out of fear. Master, I asked, my voice quieter now, how do we know which threads to choose, which patterns to create? The Buddha gestured to the sky, where a bird soared, its wings effortlessly carrying it through the open air. The bird does not question the wind, he said. It feels the current and adjusts its wings, trusting its instincts. He turned back to me, his gaze steady, as though he could see the threads of my thoughts unraveling and reweaving. Trust your inner wisdom, he said. This tree has stood here for centuries, growing slowly but steadily, weathering countless seasons. He began, touching the rough bark. Its patience lies not in passivity but in the quiet persistence of its growth. Rooted deeply and reaching outward, the Buddha rose, his movements fluid, as though he was part of the natural flow of the universe itself. He motioned for me to follow him, leading us to the edge of a field where the wind danced through the tall grasses. The wind shapes the grass, yet the grass remains rooted, he said, his voice merging with the rustling around us. So too must you adapt while remaining grounded in your values. I felt the wind on my face, its touch both gentle and persistent, a reminder of the impermanence of all things. Master, I said, my voice steadier now, how do we balance adaptability with staying true to ourselves? The Buddha picked a blade of grass, holding it between his fingers, its simplicity embodying his lesson. Flexibility is not weakness, he said. It is strength rooted in understanding. The grass bends to the wind yet remains unbroken. His words echoed in my mind, their simplicity profound, their truth undeniable, resonating with the core of my struggles. Thank you, Master, I said, bowing deeply, my gratitude flowing like the wind, touching everything it encountered. The Buddha smiled, his presence a reminder of the possibilities that lay within each moment, within each thread of existence. The traveler replied, Venerable One, Its stillness reminds me to pause. Its shade offers respite, and its presence restores my weary spirit. Buddha nodded, turning to me with a gentle smile, his gaze filled with infinite compassion and understanding. I left the field not with answers but with clarity, carrying the threads of wisdom the Buddha had offered. Another day. Another seeker approached the river, his clothes worn, his face marked by worry, his hands trembling with uncertainty. The Buddha sat nearby, observing the rushing water, his presence steady and unyielding, like the rocks beneath the stream. The seeker hesitated before speaking, his voice faint but filled with the weight of his struggles. "Blessed One," he said, his words faltering, "I am a merchant who has traveled far. Yet my heart feels restless and heavy." His hands clenched as he spoke, his gaze fixed on the water, avoiding the Buddha's gentle but piercing eyes. Buddha gestured for them to halt and reflect. "What has insight unveiled within your hearts? What lessons have your steps brought forth?" Ananda answered, his voice steady. "I see it, Blessed One," he said, his voice faint but touched with the first glimmer of understanding. "But I fear that I am stagnant, unable to move forward, weighed down by my possessions and my doubts." The Buddha picked up a small stone from the riverbank, holding it lightly in his hand, his gaze unwavering. "This stone rests beneath the water, shaped by the currents, yet never halts their flow. Does the river resent the stone?" The merchant shook his head, his gaze fixed on the stone, its edges smoothed by years of resistance and surrender. "No, Master," he said, his voice steadier now, his thoughts beginning to align with the Buddha's teachings. The stars began to emerge, their light scattered across the sky, reflecting on the still surface of a nearby pond. Buddha observed the stars, their quiet brilliance reminding him of the enduring lessons they offered to those who paused to reflect. "Let them shape you." The seeker frowned slightly, still grappling with the weight of his uncertainties, unsure how to proceed amidst the unknown. "Master," he asked, "how can I learn to move forward when fear grips me, when the river ahead remains unseen?" The Buddha smiled gently, his expression unwavering as he spoke, his words like the ripples in the water, expanding outward. "To fear the unseen is natural, but to cling to it as reality is to create your own stagnation." He gestured to the river, its currents carrying fallen leaves effortlessly, each becoming part of the greater flow. "Let go, merchant," he said. Buddha's presence guided them, his words echoing through the forest, his steps reflecting the unity he described so vividly and patiently. The fruit of insight was unveiled, a lesson eternal, its truth woven into the fabric of the disciples' lives, their steps, their hearts. "May you grow like this tree, grounded in wisdom and reaching outward, embodying patience and harmony in all seasons." His words lingered within me, their truth settling into the depths of my heart as I reflected on the day's lessons. To flow is to act with intention, to align with the currents of your heart. He paused, allowing his words to settle into the silence, the river's sounds filling the gaps with their steady rhythm. Drifting aimlessly is not failure, but a call to pause, to realign, to listen to the waters within. The merchant nodded, his thoughts finding clarity amidst the gentle turbulence of his emotions, his fears beginning to dissipate. "I understand, Blessed One," he said, his voice stronger now. "I will seek to move with purpose, even in the face of uncertainty." Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video. To walk compassionately is to help all beings journey forward. The disciples watched Buddha's gesture with reverence. As the merchant departed, the Buddha turned to me, his eyes serene, his expression both inviting and contemplative. "Do you see how the river mirrors your own path?" he asked, his tone gentle but probing, inviting reflection. I nodded, my thoughts intertwining with his teachings. Realizing how often I feared the unseen, clinging to the illusion of control. Master, I asked, my voice quieter now, how can we find peace when the currents within us feel chaotic and conflicting? The Buddha gestured to the sky, where a bird soared freely, its wings adapting effortlessly to the changing winds. The bird does not resist the wind, he said. It feels its flow and adjusts its wings. Trusting the dance, he turned back to me, his gaze steady, as though he could see the currents of my thoughts, their turbulence calming. Trust your inner stillness, he said. The disciples walked together, their steps imbued with care and intention. Buddha guided them, his presence an anchor of peace. He turned to them, his voice steady yet tender. To walk with compassion is to extend yourself without clinging or expectation. The river teaches us presence, he said. Its flow embraces each moment fully, unburdened by what was or what may come. He gestured toward the moonlight bathing the path. Even the moon shares its light without asking for recognition. Carry each moment lightly, as the river carries its waters, he said. Find joy in the flow, not the destination. His words echoed in my mind, their simplicity profound, their truth undeniable, resonating with the core of my struggles. Thank you, Master, I said, bowing deeply, my gratitude flowing like the river, touching everything it encountered. The Buddha smiled, his presence a reminder of the possibilities within each moment, within the currents of existence. As he walked away, his figure blending into the landscape, I remained, absorbing the lessons flowing through the river. Compassion is not weakness. It is strength born of understanding, acceptance, and infinite love for all beings. Kasyapa reflected aloud. Master, I feel a warmth in my steps. Is this the harvest you speak of? The fruit of compassion? Buddha smiled gently. Warmth arises from the heart's opening. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.